Good evening. Welcome to, well, I'm Angie, and welcome to my channel, From Dusk to Dawn Designs. This is my first Flosstube, so I'm trying to figure all of the tech and everything out. It's a lot. Thank you for all of you who do Flosstube, because I am very appreciative now of all that you go through to put these videos out for us to enjoy. So thank you very much. I started stitching when I was 8. My mom taught me. I still have my very first little cross stitch. So this is it. And the back is a train wreck. So a friend is someone special. I carried everything. There's tons of knots. I didn't know how to finish or cut things off, apparently. So there's lots of character to this little piece, but it's my first, so it's super special. From then, I know I did lots of cross stitches while I was growing up, but most of them were given away as gifts. So I was trying to find things that I had worked on throughout high school and like grade school and high school, and I couldn't find stuff. And I think that's just, we had very humble beginnings. Not a lot of money was around, and cross stitch was at least something that wasn't very expensive. And so you could make a gift and you could put it in a hoop, and the hoops weren't terribly expensive, and you could give it away as a gift, and it didn't cost a whole lot of money. So that is what I did for gifts a lot when I was a kid, is I would stitch something up for my friends. I can't even tell you how many pieces I did or who all I gave them to, but that's what I did. I think the pieces that I started actually doing for myself were once I was out of college. I mean, I did a few dolphin pieces because I used to collect dolphins, and so I have some dolphin pieces that I did, and I have a few other pieces, but most things were given away. And everything I did was pretty much a kit that I bought at Walmart or Hobby. No, we didn't even have a Hobby Lobby where we lived then. It was Kmart, Walmart, or I think Target was around, but I don't remember them carrying some of that stuff. I didn't even go to a local needle LNS until I was probably in my 20s, 30s maybe. No, mid-20s. So I know they had them. We just didn't have one near us, so I'd never been in one. And the only patterns that I had access to were things that you saw in the store. So that's crazy to think about how much the cross-stitch industry has changed. But I had no idea of individual designers. I mean, everything was leisure arts, and I still have a lot of leisure arts books and kits, and the gold collection from Dimensions, and I think they changed their name recently because I was in a craft store the other day and they all looked completely different, and I was like, but I have that kit, and that was an old Dimensions, and they're called something else now. So anyways, that's a little bit about my stitching history. It wasn't until, I'll have to look up the year, but my sister brought me to a local needlework shop that is unfortunately no longer open, but it was called The Busy Needle in Tucson, Arizona, and she had seen the Celtic girls, and we both my sister and I fell in love with them. And we'd never done beading, we'd never worked with gold floss, we'd never done several of the things that are in that project, and they're huge. And for Christmas that year, my mom got us all the beads and all the specialty threads because they were over dyed and special colors, and the gold thread, and there's the Krynic in some, no, I don't know if they have Krynic or not. They have a whisper thread that like kind of frays a little bit, and I should have brought one up, but I'll bring my summer girl up for my next Flosstube. But that was our first design that was not out of one of the books that we had found at a craft store. It was from an actual, local needlework shop from the designer, and Lavendar and Lace. And I fell in love with them. I did all 5. They have all 4 of the spring, all 4 of the seasons, and then they also have a Noel one with a lady with a beautiful flowing red gown, and oh, they are so pretty. I love them. Love them so much. And they are always on my mantle. So, I'll tell you a little bit more, sorry, about, I am a wife and mom, and I have one son who is 11. He will be 12 in a few months, and I don't know how that's possible. And he's almost as tall as I am, which I don't know how that's possible. But he is growing up so fast. I'm a homeschool mom, so that means a lot of my time is taken up with figuring out what we do for school. And this is the first summer since we started homeschooling that I'm actually taking off. We do a few things, but we've scaled it back quite a bit. And I'm loving it. So I don't know if we'll continue doing continuous round school. This year I really needed a break. A lot of stuff has happened, and I won't go into it now, but a lot of stuff has happened, and I told my son I have to have a break this summer, and we're gonna change the way we're doing some of our stuff, and I've got to figure out what's gonna happen, so I can't be teaching and figuring out the new things. So my husband's in the military. We met when we were in flight school together because I was in the military too. Now that you know a little bit about me, let's talk cross stitch. So I have started designing some of my own projects. My sister and I were stitching them, and she's like, Angie, I love all your designs. You need to share them with others. So through encouragement from others, I'm starting a Flosstube channel, and I'm promoting my designs on Instagram. I have a handle from Dusk to Dawn Design there. This is my Patriotic star. If you like beads, it is a cute little beaded number. I fell in love with the beads from the Celtic girls, and then I started doing the Mill Hill kits because those were smaller and they had a lot of beads. And then I started wanting more, and I wasn't finding everything I wanted, and I was like, well, maybe I could design my own. So there were several, like this was one of them, where I was like, well, I want a star, and I want it to be half blue and then the other half red and white stripes, and I want it like, I did a cake like this and absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun to do, and I thought, well, I did it with a star tip on a cake, and I'm like, well, if I could do it on a cake, then I could do it on a cross stitch because it's kind of like the same thing. So yeah, so here is my Patriotic star, and I didn't know cording was so difficult to work with, so I will have to practice this a few more times. This bottom is not perfect where it joins, but for my first time cording, I'm very happy. And I might just put a bow or something in this corner so that it covers up that little area. And then I'll be happy with it. But I'm also planning for this to be in a basket, so you're not really going to see the bottom. So I think it'll be okay. So that's my most recent finish. And then here's I called this blocks, and I'm gonna have to look up what I called this one. I might have called it July 4th blocks because this one over here that has summer is called summer blocks. So we grew up in Arizona and you wear flip-flops almost year-round. So my sister loves flip-flops, and she said it would be really cool to have some flip-flop designs, and I was like, I could do that. So that's how these couple were born. I have a few other ideas for them, but this is the only thing that I want to do is add a bow to put on here so that when I hang it up, there's a little bit of something right here. But it's another beaded piece, and I don't use sticky board. I know a lot of people do, but I use mat board. And so I cut the mat board to size, and then I put batting or felt. I don't usually do felt. There's another material that I use if I don't have batting. That's just it's like a fleece, like a white fleece. I found I had some extra of that during quarantine, and I started using that for some of it. I was like, wow, this works just as well, and it's cheaper than the quilting batting, and so why not? So, and then I tore this just like Priscilla and Chelsea. One of their tutorials talked about, tearing it. And then the checks behind it, and so I love this. This is actually a frame that I got from Walmart, but unfortunately I don't think they carry them anymore. I went to look for some more and they were no longer there. And then another of my FFOs is Stars and Stripes. And I've had this done. This was a styrofoam block finish, and I wish I could say whose tutorial I watched to do this, but I don't remember. And it'll probably be the only styrofoam block that I do because I didn't really enjoy cutting the block and all the noise of the cutting the styrofoam. Like, it was like nails on a chalkboard, and I just couldn't do it. So I probably won't be doing that anymore. But for the longest time, it didn't have the bows, and it didn't have these cute little wooden stars that I painted. And so I finally feel like it's really finished because it just looked kind of plain without anything on the top. So I needed to add a little something. And it's got beads on the bottom for like little stands. And so that's my Stars and Stripes. And then let's talk recent finishes. Okay, so Java Girl Stitches, they are doing an It Be Tuesday stitch along, and so I didn't know about it until like last week, and I was like, oh, I gotta get a bee pattern and do some, because I have a whole bee corner and it has no cross stitches. Like, I have a rack and it has all this bee stuff. I've got bee mugs, and I've got all the cute stuff that you can find at Hobby Lobby and Michael's and Joann's that have bee things, like the little rolling pins and the little signs and stuff. I have all that stuff because bees, I don't know. I have, and my husband and son got me bee stuff for my birthday and I loved it. Like they got me a table runner and some kitchen towels and just a bunch of things that all go with the bees. So now I finally have a cross stitch done, and I have, I already have a finishing idea in mind because I have this fabric from Hobby Lobby and it matches the yellows perfectly, or the gold and yellow perfectly. So I'm really excited to get that done. Some other things that I've finished stitching is Primrose Cottage. This is from the Needlework Market Cookbook. And I used all the called for colors and flosses and stuff on there. So haven't figured out how I'm going to do that. And maybe I should save this one because I don't remember who. This is another one from the cookbook as well, but I don't remember who did it, so I will have to let you know. And then this is one of my designs that Let Freedom Ring, that I have a special surprise. I'm going to release it for free. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but yeah, I just thought it'd be a fun little stitch. And my favorite stitching is Patriotic and Christmas. I could stitch those two things all the time. And so some people may only want Patriotic like between Memorial Day and July 4th, but for me, I like it year round. And so hopefully you guys do too. I have a stack that it's my hall of shame, or my stack of shame, if you want to call it that. I'm a really fast stitcher, but then they get put on a pile and the pile just sits there. Or I'll get them partially finished like this guy. And then I'm not sure what else I want to do with it. And so it's just still here. So I might put another layer behind it. It matches the Freedom on that tin, and I had originally thought, well, maybe I can find another tin and put them in tins next to each other, but I don't have a final idea for this yet. So it's done. I just need to figure out how I'm going to finish it. And then this was a free one from a Facebook group, and I'm going to have to look up the name of this one as well, the designer as well. They're in the Patriotic. You have to join the Patriotic Stitchers on Facebook. Patriotic. I'll have to look that up and let you know next time. But it was a super cute stitch, as was the Freedom. These two were together, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, so Priscilla and Chelsea's Stitching with the Housewives. Freedom Fireworks Made in the USA. That one has been sitting here for a while. I did the small, the land that I love up there, the small, and finished that one off. This one is Glory from Bent Creek. I've started finishing it. It's just partially done. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of it. And then another one from Bent Creek, Stars and Stripes Forever. And I love this one too. So I've got the beginnings of these, and they can be finished very soon if I would just get in gear and get it done. So, okay, that brings me to my works in progress. So this one is a work in progress. It is so close to being done. All it needs is a little, Okay, it came with a star. This is the second time I've done this kit, so I had to rebuy the beads. My mom loves lighthouses, so I did the original one for her. And so this one just looks too big, and this one looks like the wrong color. So I'm not happy with either of those, so I've got to find just the right thing. Maybe I'll do it like a circle button. That might be easier to find something rather than a star. So that one's almost done. And then Erin Elizabeth Designs. You might have seen this on my Instagram. I've been posting, well, I posted one. So here's the finished product, but here's what I have completed. I started this, I've only worked on it for 2 Sundays, so I think I've gotten really far, and I think this Sunday I'll have it finished. I decided on Sundays that I was going to stitch a new designer to me. So I had never done any of Erin Elizabeth's. I've admired her work for quite some time and just hadn't bought a pattern. And so I was like, well, I'm going to fix that. And so I haven't decided who my next one is, and I'm going to be done with this one soon. So sorry about that. I just shook the table. So I'm going to have to figure out who I'm going to pick up next. But another work in progress is for my son by Stoney Creek. It's the Santa Train stocking. Oh my goodness, this has so much stitching, and I am so close. I am so close. I don't know how far back I need to go for you to see the whole thing, but the first 2 pages are done with the exception of the back stitching on here and the back stitching on the train. But all of this is done to, I think, about right here is where I start. I saved all the Krynic floss, if I come close, I don't know if you can see. So all the windows and the train rail and the stuff, and then there's tons of it on this part of the train. So I'm gonna be but that is my plan for July. I know a lot of people do like a Christmas in July stitching, and this is my Christmas in July project. I was so close. Oh, I felt like I was so close to getting it done for Christmas last year, and I just, I just could not get it. Once I started the specialty threads and stuff, it just was taking longer, and I just, I wanted to get it done. My son loves trains. When he was young, like I think his 3rd or 4th word was choo-choo. I mean, he just loved trains, and I saw that last year, and I was like, do I say anything? It's really cute, and green and gold are his favorite colors, and it's a green and a gold and a red train, and I was like, oh, this just screams my son. So I almost bought it without telling him, and I was like, but he has a really cute stocking that's a snowman, and he likes that, so I didn't want to replace it if he didn't want something different. So I called him up and I was like, hey, look what I saw online. And his face lit up. I mean, he was like, Mom, can you make that? And I was like, yes, honey, I can make that. So as soon as I saw his reaction, I was like, oh yes, get it, let's go, get started. But I didn't start until, I don't know, September or October. I'll have to look back and see if I took any pictures of when I started it, but I made really good progress, and I felt like I was going really fast. And my husband, he was cheering me on. He's like, you're going to have it done. You're going to have it done. And then I didn't. And so I got like so burnt out. Once I realized I wasn't going to get it done, I just was like, okay, I'm not working on this for a while. And so I put it down and just let it go for a while. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so the final thing is some stitchy goodness and upcoming projects. So for July, yes, I am going to continue working on that stocking. And I have a few. So I was wanting a new start, and so I bought this off of their Etsy shop. And I was like, oh, I'll just get the paper and then I can start it right away. And then I realized I don't have any coloring cotton. So I had to do a separate order to get some coloring cotton so that I could stitch it. So I ended up not starting that project, which is why I started the Erin Elizabeth project instead. So, you know. And then I wanted the actual book for this, and so I love Patriotic, with my husband and I both being in the military and veterans and everything. I was like, oh yes, I want this. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to stitch it. And that's part of what I'm gonna do over the 4th of July. From now till then, I will probably start it once I finish the American flag, or maybe before. I haven't decided, but it will be soon. And then I know that this has already been unveiled, but, and I'm not going to unveil it in case there's people that are not watching the videos, but I finally got the stitch of the month, and I'm super excited. I love everything that's in that box, so I think they did a great job. I have been putting this off. I wanted to do this for quite some time, and I kept, oh, my backdrop's not perfect, and oh, I haven't gotten this done yet. I'm not. And I finally just said, just start, and the backdrop will get better as time goes on and as I get more comfortable and feel better about doing this. And so I just got started, and I'm really excited to meet some new cross stitch friends. The only person I know that cross stitches is my sister. There's a few other people in town. I joined a group, but a lot of them do other needle crafts and quilts and knitting and crocheting and stuff. And so a lot of them don't do cross stitch, and because I homeschool, I couldn't continue going to that group because they met when I needed to be at home. And so I don't have anyone local that I know that likes to cross stitch or anything like that. And I love the community, and I've been watching several people on Flosstube, and I want to make even bigger connections with you guys, with everyone. And so that's a big part of why I'm doing this, is to foster some friendships, and cross stitching is like my helps keep me sane. And you know, they have shirts that say stitching is my therapy. It really is. Like when I'm stressed out, I'm like, oh, I need to go sit in my chair and stitch. I just need to do that. Watch some Flosstube, sit in my chair and stitch, and just forget all of the problems of the world. So it helps me relax, helps me decorate my home, make it beautiful. And so I am so thankful to everyone that has been putting out Flosstube videos and putting yourself out there. I know that it's a lot, and as I'm working with the setup and trying to make things work well, I'm learning that you guys put so much time and effort into it, and I am so appreciative. I have really enjoyed the hours and hours that I have spent watching, and now I want to contribute and give back and show some of what I do. So Thank you for joining me.